Welcome back. And who says we don't break news on New Jersey Now? We're breaking news today. We've got State Senator Linda Greenstein, and we've got Assemblyman Brian Bergen. Senator Greenstein is a Democrat. Assemblyman Bergen is a Republican. So we've broken news in that we've gotten members of opposite parties together. And very exciting, we are talking about a bill or a series of bills that would encourage people, both companies and manufacturers and citizens, to consider bringing home manufacturing and business to New Jersey. It's kind of like the version of Made in America, but made in New Jersey. So let's start with you, Senator Greenstein. Tell me about this initiative and what it would do.
Well, not only is it bipartisan between the two houses, but the bill is also bipartisan, certainly in the Senate, where I have my co-chair of the Manufacturing Caucus, Republican Senator Steve Araho, who's on the bill. And it's called the Made in New Jersey Tax Credit Act. And the purpose of this legislation is to establish a tax credit of 25% multiplied by the costs incurred in purchasing various products. We have safeguards in there, which would exclude a company that is unable to purchase at least 2/3 of their resources in New Jersey. We want all parts of the product and the product itself to be made in New Jersey. The more we do that, the more chance that we will produce products here, there'll be jobs here in New Jersey, and it will also help us get through the pandemic when our economy has been in such bad shape.
Assemblyman, why is this important to you?
Well, thank you, Diane. And I want to compliment Senator Greenstein, because this is really her brainchild. And I saw it come up in the Senate, and I'm a small business owner, so this really resonated with me. So I wanted to do the legwork for her in the Assembly. So I took this bill, made it a bipartisan bill also in the Assembly. We got Assemblyman Moan, who's a Democrat, as a second prime. I have Democrats on as co-sponsors and Republicans as well. Because the manufacturing plants that are in New Jersey, they have these microeconomies that surround them of small suppliers that they can purchase from to make their end product. And we'd rather see them purchase and create these microeconomies and jobs in New Jersey than source for those raw goods from somewhere else. So really, it's a great bill, not only to bring manufacturing into New Jersey, but again, also to support those small microeconomies that exist right outside the doors of those plants.
We do have a lot of manufacturing here, but the manufacturers have problems. That I learned during the pandemic. I got very active on these issues, trying to see what we could do about PPE, or personal protective equipment, that our healthcare workers needed, and found out that many of our manufacturers wanted to make this equipment, but they were stymied in many different ways, whether it was by regulation or other reasons. They just had trouble getting the help that they needed from the state. Everybody was doing the best they could, but we just couldn't get it going. We're hoping that in, God forbid, the next round or things in the future, we will be able to solve some of these problems through the work that we're all looking at right now.
Assemblyman, how do you get around the fact that it will be undoubtedly expensive to make anything in New Jersey, and that cost would be passed along to consumers?
There's a lot of times we're making the products in the USA, let alone New Jersey, is more expensive than somewhere else. But there's also a convenience of it being done closer. There are a lot of incubators in the state of New Jersey right now, where small entrepreneurs are developing products today that they were going to go source for somebody to manufacture for them. They could have it manufactured down the street. Like Senator Greenstein said, there's a lot of manufacturing that already exists in New Jersey, so they can source it and get it done for them closer down the street. And this tax incentive will really help them out. And, look, we offset some of the costs by the tax incentive. We know we have to do that to make it economical for them, but this is the way to do it. And incentives like this will drive more business, which will create more jobs, which are growth factors for the economy, and ultimately will reduce the cost of goods down the road.
Now, why can't you guys get together on all those other things too? Pot, millionaires tax. Why is this so different?
First of all, the overall subject is definitely a bipartisan one. Sometimes subjects are not. This one is. And most of the kinds of things that we do only enhance the process. A lot of what we're looking at here, whether it's making it easier on manufacturers or tax credits or whatever. I would say all sides can agree on that. The only problem is with our perpetual financial issues here in the States, sometimes it's difficult to do those things.
Well, I think it would be unhealthy if we agreed on everything. I mean, the only person I agree with 100% of the time is myself. And, we need a whole bunch of different opinions and unique ways of thinking to make up the legislative body so that we can come to better solutions and compromises. I think that's really important. So, this topic just happens to be one that we're all aligned with. And probably there are bits and pieces that might need to be refined along the way. Somebody may have an objection to the percentage or how it's divvied, but ultimately it is good that we disagree, because we do come to a better overall solution on a lot of things from time to time.
And just to clarify, we're really not talking about going back to the smokestack days, really, where, not that manufacturing is bad, but, New Jersey did have a certain rap that if you didn't want it to be made in your backyard, you'd make it in New Jersey. Now, I think you're talking about tech products, you're talking about PPE to yours, other things that are not pollutants per se, but things that can enhance the quality of life.
There's no question about it. We're looking at the 21st century, and a lot of the industry here is technological. As the Assemblyman said, we have the incubators, we have a lot going on here in New Jersey, and certainly I don't think anyone is thinking of the smokestack days, but we're looking ahead to what can be done in the field of manufacturing that's forward thinking.
We don't want to go backwards in a lot of things, but manufacturing stuff it's a key ingredient to the overall economy, and we want it here in New Jersey. Like we said before, we already have it here in New Jersey. We want the companies that are purchasing product to purchase from the folks working hard and generating it in New Jersey, so those companies can be built, versus buying it from another state or another country when it's already being made right in their backyard.
Hopefully this is more than just paper, but it's something that we can all get together on. And it sounds to me like it could be a nice plank for either of you and your runs for higher office too. You could be the first to agree in the New Jersey legislature, history being made right here on New Jersey Now.
I have been in the legislature for 20 years, 10 in the Assembly and now 10 in the Senate. And actually, our legislature, unlike Washington, we do have a lot of agreement. We have a lot of moderate thinking people on all sides. We have people who work very well together. And I've been pretty impressed with how it's gone, especially when I hear what goes on down south in D.C.
I'll steal a line from Assemblyman Peters, who, even though he went to the Naval Academy, I was a West Point grad, he says that, we're not red or blue, we're red, white, and blue, and I firmly believe that.
Thank you guys so much. Keep agreeing. It's pleasant to cover agreement and not disagreement. Some people say that's not really news, but I think it is news, especially in New Jersey. We'll be right back.